What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Eli Martyr. Thank you so much for joining me here once again on the FreeMelon Society. I'm actually really excited because we've got Mr. Brayden Jones here with us once again, and we're going to be doing an interactive class, an interactive breathwave class, just like he would be doing in his practice. So I'm really excited for this, to share this with you guys. And Brayden, before I go on, thank you so much for joining us here once again. I had a lot of fun in that last conversation. I think we got through some really important stuff, and I'm really happy to have you back with us.
Yeah, thanks so much, Eli. It's really a super pleasure to be back with you. And like you said, we kind of touched on a lot of good stuff in the first one. And I think this is a great opportunity to be back and to share some actual experience this time, to go through the technical aspects of breathing and experience it for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And the original intention, I thought, was to just go through questions and comments that were left unanswered, or just go to the next stage of that the conversation evolved to. But you had a much better idea in just doing a class, and I really thought that was important. So for you guys, if you're listening to this, then yeah, get set and prepare yourselves. We're going to be going through a breathwave class. Now, this is just a disclaimer. This is a class that we're sharing with you. This is something that Brayden does in his practice. You obviously have to take responsibility for your own health. If you have breathing issues or medical issues that prevent you from doing anything that we're going to be showcasing here, then we're not liable for that. This is your responsibility to make your own choices, to make your own medical and health choices. Okay, so just a bit of a disclaimer, but if you're up for it, if you're ready, then we're going to be sharing something that's really going to be exciting with you, and I'm going to be participating. So we'll have some good feedback going on here, and yeah, I'm excited. So guys, if you haven't seen the first interview that Brayden and I did, then I highly encourage you to go and watch that. It's probably going to be, I'm going to call it a prerequisite. So pause this video right now. Make sure you go and watch that little interview, and so you have an idea of where we're coming from, because Brayden sets up the foundation for what we're doing here. So please go and watch that video first. That way you come into this with a little bit more information, and so you have a better framework of understanding what exactly it is we're doing and why it is that we would want to do what we're going to be doing. Because let me tell you, this stuff is going to do great things for you guys if you incorporate this into your practice. So just wanted to let you know, yeah, watch that video first, and then you feel free to join us whenever you like. The first thing we're going to do is I'm going to throw it to Brayden. And Brayden, can you just tell us exactly what we're going to be doing today? So I think we've divided it into two sections. So just give us a little rundown. What are we going to be doing in this session today?
Yeah. So we're going to begin. I'll first share 3 really simple practices, and they'll all be sitting. We'll begin sitting with these first 3 practices, and we'll be breathing in and out of the nose only for these first 3 practices. And I'll explain each of them as we go. And then we will, I'll guide you for a few minutes with each one so that you can feel it. And then we will transition into talking about, as you mentioned, breathwave technique, which is a conscious connected breathing technique. And for that, I'll explain the details, and then we'll ask you to lay down and to have a really comfortable spot where you can let your body fully relax for that technique. If you feel like you're stuffed up in your nostrils and you find it difficult to breathe through your nose, I want to share a cool little technique that can help clear the nasal passageway, so that during these first 3 techniques that we go through, you'll be able to do them properly by breathing through the nose. So first way that we can do that is by pressing our tongue up against the roof of our mouth and then releasing it and then you'll press right here between your eyebrows and release it. And we'll go back and forth like this for up to about 30 reps. So you press the roof of the tongue, the roof of your mouth with your tongue, and then press the middle.
So back and forth. Now, is it there's like the different sections of the roof of your mouth there? Is it more the back half, the middle where you have that indent, or right at the tip?
More middle to front.
Middle to front. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So you can do that back and forth, 30 reps, and see how that works for you to clear the nose. And if it still feels a little bit stuffed up, one more that you can do is to plug your nose and hold your breath and jog on the spot.
Ah, cool.
And this kind of sends a signal to your body like it needs air, and then usually your nose will open up. And if you go back and forth like a couple of reps, like you do 30 reps of pressing the tongue and pressing here, and then you do a round of holding the breath, pinching the nose, and jogging on the spot till you run out of air. And then after that, start breathing through your nose, and sometimes it makes you have to blow your nose, and then usually it's clear. It works pretty well for most people. For those that are following along and they want to give this a shot, maybe now is a good time to pause the video and to set up your space so that you can have a comfortable spot to sit for the first 3 techniques, and then transfer to laying down, and sometimes having a blanket, a bottle of water, and also maybe a journal for after the session. It can be nice to write down some reflections about what you experienced.
Okay, perfect, guys. So at this point, I'm going to set up here. And so what, like Brayden said, you're going to need just a comfortable place to lie down and a comfortable place to sit. And if I'm not mistaken, comfort is the most important thing, right? We're not looking at being in some really uncomfortable yogic position. If you're not ready for it, just be comfortable. Yes?
Yeah, today the first 3 techniques will be sitting upright. So you can have your spine relatively upright.
Okay.
But it's nice to have a balance of relaxation and alertness for these first 3. So if the body's in pain, it's kind of hard to concentrate and relax. And if the body's too relaxed, then we fall asleep. So there's kind of a balance there. Yeah. You can experiment with what posture works for you. And some suggestions would be to either sit on a chair with your feet flat on the floor and your hands resting in your lap, or if you want to sit cross-legged and just put your hands however they fall. We'll
be providing some music, so you don't need to worry about music. We'll have that playing for you guys, so you can listen to the instructions as you go along, or as we go along over here. Okay, so if you need to, pause the video and do whatever you need to do, and we'll be back with you in just a second.
First up, I'm going to share with you, it's actually a meditation technique rather than an actual change of our breath pattern. And we spoke about this in our first interview together, which is just becoming aware of the breath. So find your posture where you're sitting upright and you feel comfortable and relaxed, but also alert. And just come to stillness. And you can close your eyes or lower your gaze. You feel your whole body just relax as the weight of your body sinks into your seat. And bring all of your attention to your breath right at your nostrils. Feeling inhale tickle the entrance of your nostrils. and the exhale flowing through the nostrils. Letting go of any thoughts, no matter what kind of day that you've had up until now, just letting go of the past, giving yourself permission to be fully here, fully with your breath. And without altering the breath in any way at all, just simply noticing it however it happens to be, with all the attention right at the entrance of your nostrils, feeling the entirety of the inhale and the entirety of the exhale. The mind becomes distracted by thinking, just simply noticing that your attention has been lost in thought and gently guiding it back to feeling the breath flowing in and out of the nose. If there's any clenching of any muscles in your body, just relaxing. There's no need for any strong effort here of any kind. Relaxing the face, the jaw, the shoulders, the arms, and continuing to follow the breath in and out of the nose. Just here with this breath. And if you notice that your attention has drifted, without judging yourself, just kindly directing yourself back to paying attention to the breath flowing in and out of the nose. Paying very close attention to the way that the breath feels as it flows through the nostrils. Okay, gently opening your eyes and bringing yourself back. How do you feel, Eli?
I can feel myself not wanting to come back. It's so relaxing.
And if the viewers are feeling like that, now's a good time. You could pause the video and take a few more minutes to yourself just with this simple mindfulness of breath meditation called Anapana. So what did you notice during that simple practice, Eli? Were you able to keep your attention with the breath?
Yeah, and it does help to hear your voice. It's almost like it's reassuring that you're not judging yourself, that you're comfortable, and that that you're literally being guided, right? And I think there's a comfort in that when you hear someone suggest to pay attention to your breath, even though if you're told that that's what you should be doing right from the top, just to have that encouragement, oh yeah, pay extra close attention, and you start to notice just little things that you might not notice had you not been encouraged.
Yeah.
That really, yeah, it really does put you in a good state of mind. I can feel myself not wanting to open my eyes. I'm like, oh, this bit of repose is just fantastic. So
That's great, Eli. A couple of just important notes about this first practice is that a lot of people will say, "Oh, I feel like I can't really notice my breath that easily." Mm-hmm. And if that's the case for you, where it's hard to notice the breath, a good tip is to breathe a little bit heavier, so that the breath is a bit stronger, so that the airflow is more noticeable in the nostrils. So if you feel your attention is drifting into thought really easily, you can kind of aliven your breath a little bit more, so that you can just notice. You have something more to notice.
Yeah.
And that, it's really a concentration practice, which is really the very first step of becoming more aware, is to be able to consciously direct your attention. So many of us are lost in a trance of thinking all the time. We're not really living in the body in the present moment. Yeah. So this is like the baseline, is to just bring you into the body, bring you into your breath, and to be feeling the sense of being fully aware, fully awake, and fully alive here with this breath.
Yeah. Fantastic. For people who are having problems with just concentrating on the breath, something that I found personally helpful was if you need to focus on something, the skin between the end of your nose and your top lip, just that small section here where you can feel air moving in and out. Sometimes if you put your intention right there on just like the nerves in the area, feeling the air coming out and in, that can help as a concentrative aid, and very often that helps. I've read a lot of practitioners using that technique, or just focusing on your lower belly, excuse me, the dantian area, right, just under the belly button, and just feel the air rising as you breathe in and then falling as you breathe out. So those could help.
As our concentration increases with a practice like this, you can start to notice little details. Like, for example, as you breathe in, the air will be cooler. And as you exhale, the air will be warmer. Yeah. And there's actually, at first it kind of seems like it could be really boring, but as our concentration increases, there's so much to notice about the human experience in the breath in our bodies. Okay, so you can remain in your sitting posture here as we move into the second practice, which is an Ujaee breath. And this breath is also going to be moving in and out of the nose. And you can kind of practice it as I explain it here. So if you want to take your posture, Eli, and close your eyes, bring your attention inward to the breath. And as you feel the breath moving in and out of the nose, we're going to create a slight constriction in the back of the throat, so that you feel the air moving in the back of your throat a little more noticeably. And you'll know that you're doing it correctly if you actually hear the sound. And sometimes people call it the ocean breath, because it sounds like the ocean, or Darth Vader breath. So the air is flowing slowly and smoothly in and out of the nose, with this slight constriction in the back of the throat that creates more sensation for the air moving, and a little bit of sound. that you can hear it swirling in the back of your throat. And as you breathe in this way, allow your breath to nourish the low belly. So you're feeling the low belly rise as you inhale and fall as you exhale. And allow the breath to become a little bit longer and a little bit slower as you feel it and hear it swirling in the back of your throat. And I'm going to guide you for a 5-second inhale and a 5-second exhale as we breathe together. And if it feels like that's too long for you and that you're kind of getting out of breath, then just breathe at a tempo that feels right for you. And eventually a 5-second inhale and exhale will become pretty natural feeling with practice. And if eventually you feel like you want to lengthen even more, then you can do that. But for now, I'll count you a 5-second inhale and a 5-second exhale that we can try together. So ready, we'll inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if this feels good for you, you can continue to repeat the counting in your head as a way to keep you focused with the breath. And if it seems like it's just too much to do the counting, then just allow the breath to move slowly and calmly in the low belly, feeling this slight constriction in the back of the throat. Being mindful that you're not creating too much tension in the throat as you do this. It is possible to create this slight constriction without stressing the jaw or the neck, but just allowing it to be relaxed, even as you create this sound and this swirling here. To pause the video and continue with this Ujaee breath, you can do so now. And otherwise we'll slowly come back, opening the eyes, and we'll move on to the third technique for today. How does this one feel for you, Eli?
Oh, that was different. That was a new one for me. I've never done the throat constriction. Yeah, that was interesting. It took a minute or two because it was a new thing to coordinate being comfortable and relaxed, but having that little bit of constriction. I could feel it sometimes. I could feel sometimes I was constricting more in the nasal cavity. and sometimes down in the throat. Other times, like I was more conscious down here. So it kind of shifted for the first, first couple minutes. But then eventually I could generalize it to more my throat, like you were instructing, and then be comfortable and relaxed enough to just be able to focus on breath, and then have that bit of just that little bit of constriction. So that was interesting. It took just a hair to finagle. Oh, where do I send the energy, the focus, and to get it so that it's nice and right, comfortable. So yeah, that was interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, this one's nice. It's relatively still simple, but there's actually a lot that it calls on our attention more. And as you explained, there's like these details to pick up on when we start to be more attentive, more fully aware of our experience and the sensations of breathing. There's actually a lot of detail and nuance there, and being able to create that slight constriction, which allows for really good control of the breath. Right. It really allows us to slow it and lengthen it in this really calm way. But to do that, as you said, without creating tension in the body, so that the neck, the jaw, the shoulders stay relaxed, and that we're really just using our diaphragm so that the breath is moving in the low belly really easily. Yeah, it's a nice one. So I have one more sitting practice to share with you, and this one's called Nadi Shodhana, which is alternate nostril breathing.
Oh, okay, cool.
Have you done this before, Eli?
I've done it before, yes. Not all the time though. So this is going to be practice for me. So
Nadi, Sanskrit word, means channel, and Shodhana meaning cleaning or purifying. And this breath particularly works really well to harmonize the brain hemispheres.
I see.
So it's a really good balancing breath. So we're going to use our right hand for this practice.
Yeah.
You're going to put your index and ring finger down, and then we're going to block our nostrils as we breathe, alternating from the right nostril with our thumb and the left nostril with our ring finger.
Okay.
So how it will work is that we will block the right and inhale through the left, then switch, block the left, exhale through the right. Then without switching, inhale through the right again, switch, exhale through the left. So the breath is actually flowing in this, rainbow shape, where it's going, up through the left nostril, out through the right nostril, then back up through the right nostril, out through the left nostril. So we switch the nostril after every inhale.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a good visual, the rainbow. So yeah, in through one side, out the other, and then back in through that same side, and then out the other. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm not going to guide this one. I'm just going to let you try it because everyone has a really different pacing with this. So a couple of notes is to keep the whole body relaxed again as you're breathing, and feel the low belly receiving air. And even though you're using your hand, try to keep your shoulder relaxed so that you're not creating too much tension. And eventually, we want the breath to flow really slowly and gently through each nostril. And we can actually combine this technique with the Ujaee breath with that slight constriction in the back of the throat.
Okay.
And you want to make sure that you're keeping your back, relatively upright, not hunching too much, and that your head isn't tilting to cater towards your hand, but that your hand is more catering towards keeping your correct alignment and posture relaxed, but also upright and alert. And bringing your right hand up to the nose, you will lower the index finger and the middle finger, and we'll use our thumb and our ring finger, switching back and forth, beginning by breathing in through the left nostril. And then we switch and exhale. inhaling again through the right nostril. Switching, exhaling through the left nostril. Just continuing with this at your own pace. Allowing the breath to move slowly in a relaxed way as you alternate nostrils. In this pattern, you're feeling the breath moving in your low belly, a diaphragmatic breath. And if you'd like to incorporate the Ujaee breath in the throat to help control and slow the breath as you alternate nostrils, these can pair well together. Continuing in this way, knowing that there's nothing that you need to be thinking about right now, nothing that you need to be planning or worrying about, just being totally here with this breath. Being mindful of keeping the body relaxed as the breath continues to lengthen, being slow and calming. Just here with this breath. If you'd like to continue with this practice, you can pause the video and keep going. Otherwise, we'll slowly come back and move on with our class today. And usually we finish the alternate nostril breathing with an exhale on the left side. One of my favorite practices for sure, this one.
That's interesting, isolating each side like that. When you're doing that, maybe you can just give us a brief explanation. So what's the difference, just very briefly, between doing that and then just the regular dual nostril breath? How does that isolation help you? What's happening?
Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah. Well, the first thing is that because we have to do something that requires a little bit more concentration. Like you actually have to think about how you're breathing and move the correct way. It calls on more of your brain power to be present with what you're doing. So that's the first great thing about it, is that if people find that they have trouble following the natural breath, as we did at the beginning, like the Anapana meditation, then usually a practice like this works a little bit better for someone because it keeps them like more engaged. The breathing in and out of each nostril by itself is said to help harmonize the hemispheres of the brain. So it's balancing the logical and the emotional sides of our personalities. It's also saying to balance the nadis, which is like the energy channels. So it gets into like, our chakras and things like this, the energy system.
Would that help to, because very often, even with myself right now, I can notice that there always seems to be one side that has a bit clearer of a channel and then the other side, and then it switches at different times during the day. Is this something that can help to balance how well the energy or the air flows through each nostril just by this practice?
Yeah, well, it's really natural for that to be the case for a lot of us, is that one nostril will generally be slightly more open than the other.
Right.
And it's believed that goes hand in hand with our nervous system as well, depending on which branch of the nervous system we're in, whether it's the sympathetic or the parasympathetic. This practice is a great way to, if you feel like one nostril is more open than the other, it's a great practice to use.
That actually makes sense to me. Can you just remind us these first three exercises that we did? Is there an umbrella term this fits under?
Well, I'm using the umbrella term of conscious breathing.
Okay.
The first practice called Anapana, which is just being with the breath as it is. Yeah. So we're not modifying the breath in any way. We're simply just bringing our full attention to the breath. Okay. And it's considered more of a meditation than it is considered a breath practice because we're not modifying the breath. But to me, I look at it as like ground zero. It's like we need to be able to pay attention to the present moment, body, and breath in order to be effective at modifying it.
Right.
And then we move into what would be considered like pranayama, which is simply breath control or breath regulation. Mm-hmm. And where we start to make these conscious modifications to the breath with the Ujaee breath, which is the restriction in the back of the throat, and then the Nadi Shodhana, which is the alternate nostril breathing.
If you guys need to pause and get set, I think the next section, if I'm not mistaken, is we're going to be lying down for the next section. Is that correct?
Yes. We'll move into our breath wave practice, which is a conscious connected breathing practice. And for this one, we'll lay down and fully relax the body.
Perfect.
Okay, so now we're going to do our breath wave practice, which is a conscious connected breathing technique. And there's lots of different types of conscious connected breathing. Wim Hof is one that a lot of people know of. There's holotropic, transformational, vivation, rebirthing, soma breath. There's tons of different styles. And this is definitely one of my favorites. And it really has a gentleness to it. So I don't like calling it breath work because a lot of the time when we do breath work, we're actually like working really hard and we're activating this kind of striving in ourselves, as if there's some sort of goal to reach. But the way that I really like to approach breath work is, without there being some sort of goal that you're trying to get to, if there's a goal, it's just to be here with the breath, to just be here in your experience in a really mindful and loving presence with your breath. So that's what I'm going to share with you guys. So another tool that we use in conjunction with this particular breathing practice is making sound. And we call it toning. And it is simply just, ah, or oh, or really making any sound so that we feel a vibration in our throat. And it can be as loud as you like or as quiet as you like. as long as you can feel that you're making that vibration in your throat and in your body. And a great time to do this is if you feel like you're getting really tired and you're going to drift off to sleep, you can make 2 or 3 really strong, long for the entire duration until you're out of breath, and do that, 2 or 3 times, and then come back to the breath. Another great time to use sound is if you feel like there's an emotion arising in you and it kind of feels stuck, then you make a strong tone 2 or 3 times.
Oh.
And then when you come back to the breath after, you'll usually notice a shift in the way that the breath feels and the way that you're breathing, and it helps open things up. It can feel really, really good to do. If the body feels like it wants to move or shake or stretch in any way as you make that sound, then that can be really nice too. Sometimes shaking the hands, shaking the feet, shaking the whole body and making sound. It's a way to move energy, and you'll understand when you try it and you feel it. It's really like kind of empowering, and it helps us kind of break through the feelings of like shame or embarrassment, or it's a way to just kind of break through that and make noise. It feels really good. So throughout the session, if you feel like making sound, you can do that. And I will ask you at some point, let's make some sound, and then we can do that together and see how that feels. This technique, it can be very, very powerful, purifying breath that reaches into our subconscious. So if we've had traumatic life experiences, or we've had unpleasant moments where we felt strong emotion arising in us, and then we decided to not feel or express that emotion, but to stuff it back down, which so many of us have learned, right? So many of us have learned growing up that there is a right way to feel, a right way to be, and that if we don't fit into that box, we won't receive love. So when we have moments where we feel angry or sad, we learn that in order to be loved and accepted, we need to ignore, suppress, and cram down the way that we truly feel. And there's a price that we pay for that, because that energy that wants to be expressed, when we stop it, it gets stored in the body, and it gets stored in our subconscious. So this practice is a great way to invite some of that old material up to be cleansed, to be felt, and to be, let go of. Sometimes we feel hot or cold, like sometimes we start sweating if we do this technique for long enough. Today we'll be doing 20-minute session, which is relatively light, but it can still be very powerful. Sometimes we feel emotions come up. Sometimes after a few minutes of breathing like this, it feels like, oh, I'm going to cry. And sometimes there's a memory that comes with that, or we have some sort of reason of the why for the emotion, but sometimes not. Sometimes there's no story or mind content, but it's just the raw sensation of energy moving in that particular emotion. So if anger, sadness, fear, joy, peace, gratitude, bliss, the entire spectrum of human experiences are fully welcome here in this practice to be felt and to be expressed. And since you're setting up a nice private space for yourself to breathe, in a safe way on a bed somewhere comfortable, it's a perfect opportunity to allow yourself, to give yourself permission to actually feel. And relearning how to feel is such an important part of the spiritual journey. Right. Because everyone wants to feel better, but in order to feel better, we first need to learn how to feel. A quick personal story for me, I learned to not feel my emotions, especially sadness. And when I began breath work, I had a lot of tears come up to the surface, and I had a lot of grieving, and it was pretty intense at times, like big cathartic processes. And there was this pattern, this habit pattern in me that as that came up, I wanted to be like, no, this is not safe to feel. That's what I had learned, right? So it was an opportunity to notice, oh, I have feelings in me, and that it's actually okay to feel them. It's actually the purpose or a purpose is that we can feel. Now, when I say it's a purpose, I don't mean you have to cry in this session. Of course not. Sometimes we have many sessions that are just very calm and very beautiful and peaceful, and we feel nourished, and that's perfect too. The invitation is to allow whatever your experience happens to be, allow it to be like that. It's possible to experience with this practice something that's called tetany. So it's like a sensation of cramping in the arms, in the hands. Sometimes we feel it in the legs. Sometimes you can feel it around the mouth. And if you've never experienced that before, it can be a little bit strange and perhaps a little bit alarming. So it's good to mention, to know that it's a possibility. And sometimes the hands even start to do this, where it's like the muscles are activating and the hands begin to close a little bit. And the best advice, if you start to experience this, is to know, first off, it's okay, it's safe, and that there doesn't need to be a panic or a fear response to this. You can know, oh yeah, this sometimes happens, and it won't last. In fact, no experience will ever last as it is forever, right? All experience is moving and changing, the law of impermanence. We can experience the truth of this as we know. Whatever you experience in your session today, whether it's pleasant or unpleasant or neutral, it will pass. Mm-hmm. So it gives us permission to allow the experience to be as it is. But if you experience tetany, pay attention to the quality of your exhale and make sure that you're relaxing the exhale. Make sure you're not forcing the exhale, because this is not a hyperventilation technique. It's meant to be very relaxed. So be sure that the inhale is, long and gentle, and the exhale is very relaxed, just falling away with ease. And if you want to take your foot off the gas pedal a little bit by kind of returning to a bit of a natural breath, you can do that at any time, of course. So here are the 3 steps to this practice. The first is to inhale into your low belly, as we have been doing. And this time we're going to fill it from the very bottom in the low belly all the way up into the heart. And we want to feel the breath expanding in all directions. If we imagine, all the way around our torso is filling up from the bottom like a cup, filling up, and expanding in all directions, all the way up into the heart.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. And even though we're breathing more deeply and more fully, we don't need to engage the back muscles or the shoulders or anything like that, keeping the body relaxed and allowing the diaphragm to do the breathing. So this is the inhale. That's the inhale. Yeah. Number 2 is the exhale. And the exhale is beautiful because there's nothing to do at all on the exhale. You simply let the breath fall. And on one side, is this tendency to control the exhale. So like that pranayama, the Ujaee breath, that control. No Ujaee breath for this practice. No control. Completely opening the throat and the airway so that the breath just falls away with ease. And so on the one side, there's a tendency to slow and control the breath. And on the other side, there's a tendency to want to push the breath, like to make it faster, like we need to do more work. And both of them are control. What we want to find is this golden space in the middle where we imagine the body just goes offline and just the breath just falls out of you. That's the exhale. And the third step is to feel a connection between the inhale and the exhale. So without a pause at the top holding the breath, or without a long pause at the bottom before you inhale, as soon as the breath is full, you let go and it falls out.
Uh,
And as soon as the breath is out, you receive it again.
okay.
So we're starting to create this connected rhythm. The breath becomes circular in this nice pattern. That's the practice. And we're going to breathe like this, in and out of the mouth.
For the whole time?
When we immediately lay down, it's
Yeah.
great to take a moment to just be with your natural breath and out of the nose. And then as we begin the technique, you'll begin breathing in and out of your mouth for the breath wave.
Okay.
And we'll breathe like that for about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then at the end, I'm gonna ask you to return to a natural breath. And that's when you can return to nose breathing and just allow your breath to become normal and natural. And we'll relax for 5 minutes at the end, just being with the energy that we've cultivated.
Every once in a while, you'll hear people say, "Oh, you shouldn't breathe through your mouth if you're doing breath work or if you're doing meditation." Why do they have that idea? Like, what's happening there to make people cautious about breathing through their mouth as opposed to their nose?
Yeah. Well, it's for a good reason. And that's because for daily normal breathing, we should be breathing in and out of our noses.
Right.
And if you're chronically breathing through your mouth, then you're creating a whole host of issues. So there's many benefits to breathing in and out of your nose, and you should be doing that day to day, and definitely while you're sleeping. Mm-hmm. However, doing a short session like this of mouth breathing has some different benefits. And when we have this specific intention to dig into the subconscious and to clear the body mind of old traumas or old energies, then we want to move a little bit more life force and create a bit more energy in the body so it becomes useful for this.
So if you guys are all ready to go, then I'll make some adjustments here, and then let's get into this.
Okay, so relaxing the body here. Before we begin with the breathwave technique, just feeling the natural breath and really inviting the entire body to let go of tension, feeling the weight of your body just sinking into your bed. Know that for these next 20 minutes or so, that this time is for you to be here with your body, with your breath, that there's nothing you need to be thinking about. Let this be a gift you give yourself. It can be helpful to have an intention for a breathwave session. So bring to mind something that you'd like to bring into your life, something that you'd like to experience more of. Maybe it's more peace of mind, maybe it's more self-love, whatever feels honest, sincere for you today. And as you bring that intention into your mind and into your heart, beginning to feel your low belly expanding and the inhale rising up into your heart, allowing the breath now to flow in and out of your mouth with a relaxed jaw, relaxed throat. Inhaling that intention into your being. attention completely to the breath as you feel the belly expanding, the breath moving up into the heart. Allowing the inhale to be a little bit longer and a little bit deeper than usual. But not striving or working hard. And as you feel that breath expanding and nourishing your low belly and your heart, feel that exhale falling away with ease. Without any control at all. And if we truly let go of control of the exhale, it generally falls pretty fast. Your inhale should be 2 to 3 times the length of your exhale, taking your time to nourish as you participate, saying yes to life with your inhale, and allowing the exhale to fall away with ease, a completely surrendered exhale. And as you feel this inhale moving well in your belly up into your heart, and you feel your exhale falling away with ease, bringing attention to the connection between inhale and exhale. Continuing to breathe in this way, we give thanks for this opportunity to breathe. With gratitude for life, continuing with your connected breath wave, inhale and exhale, finding your own natural rhythm here. Wishing you a beautiful session. Nourishing the low belly and heart as you expand and receive, and with a deep sense of trust, letting go and feeling the body relax deeper with every exhale. Feeling that connection between inhale and exhale, letting the music carry you and the breath be your guide. Just here with this breath. can see your breath moving very well on your inhale, Eli, nourishing the belly and heart. Beautiful work, brother. Continuing to nourish the body. And let's see if you can find even more trust to let that exhale fall away a little more quickly. Inviting any sensations that are arising, inviting this energy that's being cultivated into the body, saying yes to whatever is being felt and experienced here as you continue to breathe in this open and beautiful rhythm. If you'd like to experiment with bringing one hand onto your low belly and the other hand onto your heart, and just feeling this wave as you breathe. Our attention is with our inhale, where we are participating in receiving this life force. And when the body is sufficiently full, simply letting go as the exhale falls away. Checking in with the jaw, face muscles, making sure everything is relaxed, the neck is relaxed, the throat is open, and the air should be flowing easily without creating any sound or any restriction. Let's allow your breath to be a little bit quicker, Eli.
I'm a boy on a mission, the bag of superstition, the stories in my
Fully
mind,
breathing
Jackie
into the
Giggle,
heart,
Yolanda,
and letting go, it
emotions, my
falls
potion,
away,
tide on my side,
bringing a
rising
sense
to
of
the
trust
occasion, oh, it's slippery, it's
into
a
the heart as we
slide.
continue to breathe here,
Wow.
knowing that you are held, that your body is wise. It feels good to breathe. It feels so good to let go.
Feel the energy of your father, energy of your mother, feel the energy of your
Feeling
sister,
the energy,
energy of your
yes.
brother, feel the energy in your heart, energy in your soul, energy in your bones, and let your mind and spirit grow. Wow.
Feeling free to leave your hands as they are or letting them rest easy, whatever way feels comfortable for you. As you continue to breathe and feel whatever is present here in your body.
Feel the energy of the struggle. waves, energy of your home, and the green path we shall pave. Whoa.
Fully embracing and allowing yourself to feel all the energy, whatever sensations are present in the body. If there's any emotions arising, giving yourself permission to feel, to express, to be fully human here. And let's make some sound together now. We'll do 3 strong tones. Yes, again, 2 more, even longer. One more like that, feeling the vibration in the body. One more strong tone together. Here we go. Good, and back to the breath, feeling the inhale and exhale move with no sound, freely and easily. Staying connected with our breath wave pattern here for this one more song.
All the questions of the mind trying to find a way to show that I got darkness, I got light, I got everything in between. Don't deny any side, I don't cut branches off my tree. Great storm clouds holding rain, it's part of nature to hold a bit of pain.
Where can I feel a little more fully?
Feelings leaving, that is just the way it
Where can I trust and go a little more deeply?
Had to surrender to the mystery I often never know. Oh, treat it like a way to treat it like a never-ending day. All the laughter, all the tears are just a part of the romance. Oh no, great thing grow. Watch a new thing grow. Watch a new thing grow. Great storm clouds holding rain. It's part of nature to hold a little bit.
Okay, allowing the breath to slowly transition now back to a normal, natural breath. Perhaps bringing the breath back into the nose and inviting a deep relaxation. Just being here with all this energy we've cultivated and relaxing for this next song.
In this moment, all the earth stands still.
Drifting into this expansive, silent stillness.
Time unwinds its coil. Life is filled to the brim.
We'll slowly bring some gentle movement back into the body, welcoming yourself back, perhaps moving the fingers and toes, and allowing the body to stretch in any way that feels good for you. Sometimes it's nice to roll onto its side. Give yourself lots of time to come back. Need more time to relax. If you feel like you want to keep laying, you can certainly do so. And when the time feels right, slowly, gently sitting up. And closing our practice by giving thanks together here. Perhaps placing a hand on your heart and just thanking your body, this amazing vehicle that allows us to experience human life. What a blessing. Beautiful breath session today.
Oh, thank you so much. Maybe I can start getting up here.
Well, normally in an in-person class, now is when we let everyone slowly sit up together, and then we invite some sharing in the circle. So we can transition naturally into that about sharing. What did you experience?
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, if people want to type in the comments what they experienced. And also sometimes journaling can be a really good thing to do, just as a way to reflect.
So I'll tell you what some of the things that I noticed, most profound things I noticed were that there were several moments where during the breath wave, during the more intense mouth breathing, right? Filling myself up with the breath energy and then letting it go. There were several points where on the exhale, it's like I forgot to breathe. I either forgot to breathe, or there, the moment of stillness between the breaths seemed to last very, 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 very long, right? Very long time, where it's like I had to get snapped back into reality, like, oh yeah, the in breath, and it felt like that experience was just protracted, and that was really interesting to be in that moment of complete stillness without breath. It felt like just a glimpse of infinity. It was very interesting. Yeah,
that's a very good way to put it. I very much resonate with that wording, a glimpse of infinity.
Yeah,
those moments of stillness where there's no time.
Yes.
Can be very profound to experience.
Yeah, I definitely noticed that. It was at least 3 or 4 times where I noticed that timelessness with no in-breath or no out-breath, and a forgetfulness that I'm doing an exercise, and then all of a sudden it snaps back eventually, but it felt like a long enough period that was like, whoa, you haven't breathed in a while, like what's going on, right? So that was one thing I noticed. The other thing I noticed, by the way, the music is so suitable. It's so beautiful, and it's just like it's the most fitting music. Like I couldn't have chosen better music. The other thing I noticed were just a couple of visualizations that were very, very strong, very, very clear. At I don't even remember at what portion. Probably closer to the end. I noticed myself in familiar areas in the house, and things disintegrating like into gold, like golden ashes. I would notice that things in the kitchen, or whether it was in the living room, something had disintegrated into gold, into just a pool of golden ash. And that visualization just kind of jumped into out of nowhere. was very, very, very clear and strong, and then it would fade, and then I would have a similar thing later on in the sessions.
Amazing, brother. Thank you for sharing. That's
Yeah,
so cool.
yeah,
That sense of stillness and timelessness that you experienced can be so profound. And today we only breathe for 20 minutes,
yeah.
but when we do these sessions, they're normally at least twice that long, usually like 45, 50 minutes,
Wow.
with a relaxation, a little bit longer of a relaxation at the end as well. So it's about an hour total time. And as we breathe in that way for longer and longer, those experiences, which, there's infinite possibility of what we can experience. And it's so cool to hear from each person their different experience, whether it happens to be very profound or more kind of regular. There's a huge range, right?
Yeah.
And something that is so cool is that when we do breathe in this way for longer amounts of time, there's these expanded states of consciousness that we can reach, that where we feel, unity, this oneness, this connection with everything. And it's understood that our bodies actually produce DMT, dimethyltryptamine, which is a very strong psychedelic substance. And it's believed that it's produced in the pineal gland and in the lungs. And that when we breathe in this connected way, that we can actually produce and release that, and that can be part of what brings about these unitive states and different expanded states of consciousness experiences that we can have. Another note is that this breathing technique brings to light our unconscious restricted breathing patterns.
Mm.
So oftentimes we have ways that we resist life.
Yeah.
And the way that we breathe is directly related to the way that we experience life. So our breath is kind of like a window into our perception, into our personalized life experience, and that it can show us things. So for example, if someone has trouble with breathing in again, and that they often feel themselves pausing at the bottom, it could be a sign that they have trouble accepting the good about themselves or receiving from others. And there's these little, they're not like perfectly accurate, but it can give us a little bit of a window into, what we can look at about ourselves. So there's so much depth to the practice as we continue with it.
I'm so happy that you're able to come and and share this with us today. Now, closing out your sessions, is there anything once everyone's shared their experiences is that pretty much it, and then everyone packs it away, or how do you usually conclude?
Yeah, well, usually we like to have a snack together, because sometimes you get afters. Sometimes we have some bananas or apples or something after the session. And a couple words that are useful to a couple things useful to know about. It's a really detoxifying breath practice. So if you feel really thirsty after, especially breathing in out of the mouth, drink some good water. Nourish yourself. And if you had a really deep practice, sometimes we can feel those effects for days, and sometimes waves of different sensations or emotions will move through us. And it's a kind of a continuation of this purification process taking place. So the best advice is to be kind and gentle to yourself, and give yourself space to feel and to be human. And if the practice resonated with you, it's a great thing to incorporate, a once-a-week session of the breathwave practice, and then incorporating this daily mindfulness of breath, or these other conscious breathing practices that we did at the beginning of the class.
Brayden Jones, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. I was really looking forward to this. And yeah, this is fantastic, and I really think, well, not only myself, but I think everyone that that participated in this with us is gonna get something out of this, something very constructive that they can add to their lives. That is always going to help them, you know, and that is real value. So, thank you so much, guys. If you like these videos, then make sure to subscribe to the channel and give this video definitely a thumbs up. We'll have more great stuff for you in the future. So, Brayden, thanks a lot, brother. Really appreciate this.
Thank you, Eli. Appreciate you, brother.
You enjoy. Thank you again. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Okay. Take care. Ciao.